Good evening, hello all, and I hope you're having a splendid time today at this summit. To begin, let me introduce you myself. My name's Sam Potter. I'm a 16-year-old high school student based in Singapore. My family comes from Australia, and I enjoy programming. I also enjoy history and science. So, at my school I run a hack club. I've also helped organise Hack Club Summer of Making, if you remember that from last summer. And I do a variety of other things in the hacker community. I've helped organise a couple of hackathons, etc., etc. And so today in this workshop, we'll be focused on how we can become an email ninja, so that you can build partnerships with companies around the globe to help better your community events and so that you can run better events with them. We'll be looking at the style of language to use, the structure of an email, and how to tell a story. We'll be looking at how to make an appealing call to action, and lastly, we'll be looking at how we can send out these emails. And if you stick around to the end, we've got a surprise giveaway in store as well. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get into it. A crucial feature of your email is the language used. I think that I've always found it's best to aim for a smart, casual tone of language in your email. But there's certainly a spectrum to work on. So, for example, if you're emailing a professor, you're going to have to be more formal. But let's say you're even emailing someone in developer relations, or someone who's a bit more chill, a bit more social media side, a bit more sociable, you can be a little more casual and a bit more approachable. So there's certainly a spectrum that you've got to find yourself on, and it's important to analyze every person that you're emailing and see where they're on the spectrum. Obviously, certain people who are more senior believe that they are owed more respect, and you should show that respect to them when you're emailing them so that you get a good result. So, what exactly is smart casual language? Well, on screen there are some examples. So we've got things like starting off with, "Hey Bob." That's a very nice, approachable way to begin. Being open and then this second one is about being open. This is a challenge for me as I don't have thousands of stickers. So I was wondering, would you be able to send me a bundle of Bobby's music stickers? So you're just being open and honest about this. For an address, it's probably easier if you send them to my home address. Probably easier. It's not so demanding, it's a bit more chill. You're just like, probably easier, yeah. And things like, "That's amazing." Show your passion for your event through the language you use. Feel free to use exclamation marks. Be passionate about your event, but make sure the exclamation marks fit in. So So the aim is to give off a chill vibe, but also presenting your event as being a serious event, and you're making a serious request. You want to avoid being too formal, as that can put off certain people who read your email. It can be boring. It's a lot of the time when you aim for formal language, a lot of the passion gets diluted, and that can really put people off. So that's why you don't always want to go so formal. And another important aspect of how you draft your email, the language around it, is how that language flows together. So you need to make sure that your email flows so that it feels natural. You want someone to read your email, it should be like going down a nice streamy river. It should not be going like white water rafting, boom, 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 blocky. You want to avoid that completely, and you want to just focus on being flow. The thing about flow is, if it's good, no one will notice it. If it's bad, everyone will notice it. So you want to make sure that flow is really good. So, I don't want to pull in specific examples here about flow, as it really varies in this case, but I think I'd like to speak on how to avoid these sort of blocky emails. So, to make sure that your emails flows, I found that it's best to read it out loud very slowly. Make sure it feels just right. Make sure that it feels like every word naturally follows one another. So, a lot of the times when you're reading your email, make sure you aren't missing small words like my, I, am. Those sort of words, they often get missed out in sentences, and those are the sort of mistakes that make your sentence feel blocky and make it feel less appealing. And it should feel just right. So, generally, it should feel a little bit more formal than a conversation that you're having with your friend, but nowhere near as formal as, let's say, a politician's address to the nation or something. Yeah, weird example, sorry. So, just quickly, I wanted to touch on what your title should look like. So the title is like the YouTube thumbnail. It's the one that really captures someone's attention. It's the one that says, that when they're looking at the list of emails, they go like, "That's the one I want to read." So your title needs to be really appealing. It needs to be short, snappy, and it should stand out in the inbox. So, also don't make it full case. Like that, you don't want to stand out that much. You want to stand out in a respectful way. So, how you do this is come up with something unique. That's the first part. And something I recently saw a friend title an email was Basecamp and the name of their hackathon, a match made in heaven. And I really like that title. It's a unique one, and I felt like that really stands out, and it flows nicely as well. So I think that's a really good thing to look at. Don't copy that one though, because what happens is if someone starts using a title, then everyone starts using that title, and it loses its uniqueness. Be original, come up with something yourself, and yeah. So we've got the language of the email down. Now let's move on to the structure of a perfect email. So let's start with a question that every student will ask their teacher when assigned an essay. Teacher, what's the right word count? Well, from my experience, the right word count is around, for the first email, is around 150 to 250 words. So that gives you enough space to explain your event, but that doesn't feel long and drawn out and doesn't feel boring. It's still engaging. So if you go shorter than that, it'll feel like, oh, you're just quickly writing something and you don't have the details. But if you go longer than that, you'll see less people read the whole thing. So when I draft my emails, the structure I roughly follow is first a brief introduction of myself. So there's no need for too much details in that one. So you just need some basic information, age, nationality, your passions, etc. So you don't want to bulk that out, but you do want to show that you are human. Make this personal. Personal and emotion always has a impact in this. And then you want to have a story about the why, the problem. So here you want to make an appeal to emotion. You want to use personal anecdotes, and we'll touch on that more. But you want to have this story represent why your event matters in your community. And then you want to speak about your event, the how. So you want to keep it simple, just the general ideas only. Maybe some real standouts about your event, but don't overload them with information. And always relate it back to the problem. How is your event solving the why? Or the problem that we established earlier. And then how they can help. So this is the call to action, which we'll touch on a bit more later. So you want to attach, it should be condensed, maximum 2 sentences, and so that you can provide more details, you want to attach a prospectus at the end of the email, so that they can go on to get more details. So the most convincing part of your email is going to be the story that you tell. The story behind your event. And you want to make sure that the recipient of your email feels attached to your event. And feels emotionally invested almost in this event. So to do this, you want to make a reasonable amount of appeals to emotion. So you want to have your reader understand the context around your event and maybe feel sympathy in a sense for your community. This most likely involves telling a story from your community that demonstrates the importance of your event. So if you're in a community with a lack of computer science education, you want to tell that story, and you also want to tell how there are kids that you know that are passionate about computer science education, but just don't have the stepping stones to get there. So, yeah. So you can use personal anecdotes. Tell a story. Maybe in that case that we're touching on before, tell a story of how you were that kid, looking for something, and how you couldn't find anything to help you pursue your passions in your community. This will give your story a personal touch, and it will make your request feel much more authentic. And then another thing that's so important for telling a story is to include images. Pictures speak more than 1,000 words. That's what they all love to say, but that statement certainly is true to a sense in cold emails, because pictures of your events not only give it a more human feel to the reader, they understand that these are humans, and that they'd be helping these people in their images. So have people smiling, that always helps. But also it gives your request a lot more integrity and makes it a lot more authentic. It makes it feel like you're actually serious about this thing, and that you aren't just emailing because you want some money. Yeah, money, woo. And add a personal touch. So relate your event to whoever you're emailing, and I've seen this be massively successful. So this will make the person you're emailing feel special and show them that you appreciate what they do. It also make them feel like they aren't just 1 in 600 people you email. So one great thing I remember is, if you know the company Replit, they're a wonderful company. They produce this online IDE that I use every week at my hack club. And I was reaching out to them to ask for a couple of stickers. I think I have one up here of theirs. Alright, I can't find it because I'm blind. But I do have one of theirs up here. Oh, it's over there. So I reached out to them and I wanted to talk to them about getting these stickers from an event I was running. And I told them how at every hack club meeting we use their IDE and how it's massively helpful and how it's helped solve a problem that we had and how we'll apply this use case in the hackathon or the event and how people will be using Replit for the workshops. And I think this was massively successful because it really gave it a personal touch. It made them understand why their work was so important. I mean, Replit's had this interesting, and I don't want to go too far in a rabbit hole here, they've had this interesting thing where they got blocked in a load of schools, and I think this was a really nice contrast, and it actually got caught up in that whole discussion over Replit being blocked in schools. There was a screenshot of my email there, and there was this photo of me and this massive whiteboard. I think I'll pop it on screen right now, with a big Replit behind me, pointing at it, trying to teach people how to code. That was a wonderful day, but yes, that did happen. So, a couple of things to remember. So, keep your story condensed and focus on the larger ideas. Stay true and authentic at all times. People can normally tell when you're starting to over-exaggerate things. So stay true and authentic. And relate your story back to your cause. Always relate your story to your event and what you're trying to do. They all should flow together. So, the next thing I want to touch on is making a call to action. So, now you've got your reader hooked and they want to help, but how do they help? Well, this is where your call to action comes in. You want to tell them very clearly how they can help, but you don't want to seem too demanding. So, whilst the offerings you'll be providing vary vastly different from what another person's, some things to keep in mind when you're making your call to action to keep it short and punchy. So you want to just have a short, punchy request. And this means that you won't be able to give them specifics all the time. So what you do is you attach a prospectus, so with more details. So this can be done in the first email, or I think more efficiently it works if you do it in the second, after they follow up. You say, if you're interested in supporting us, we're looking at sponsorships around this value, and we can provide more details. And you can also get on the phone with them. So provide that opportunity for them to follow up. And that begins a conversation. That means that they won't just outright reject you. It begins a conversation. Normally when you have a conversation, you're onto something. And you want to find a balance between being too demanding and having a wishy-washy request, right? So you don't want to say, please send us $5,000 by this date. You also don't want to say, if you could send us some money, that would be really helpful. It'd really help us, yeah. And we'll do some things to help you in return. Neither of those is good. You want to find a balance in between the two. That's a lot about this emailing thing. It's all about finding the balance. So now we've got our email. Woohoo! How do we send out these emails? Well, the first thing we all like to turn to is a little tool called Mail Merge. But don't turn to Mail Merge. Mail Merge is bad. I genuinely recommend sending these out all manually. Why? Because it will prevent silly mistakes. It will allow you to personalize emails. And personalization, when you personalize emails, the efficiency of those emails will go up crazy amounts. And it will prevent your email from getting flagged as spam. I know some people who they had to actually buy a whole new domain because their domain got blocked because they just mail merged loads of people. So yeah, you want to prevent that from happening. So yeah. And that's just one of the billions of horror stories of mail merge. I mean, mail merge is just like a recipe for disaster. I remember sending out 300 mail merge emails and getting 0 responses. I sent like 10 non-mail merged emails, and somehow they just magically worked better because I think it didn't get caught in spam filters. Also, once I was emailing every teacher in the school and I was getting tired. And I was sending an email to the deputy principal, right? And I was tired, so I made a copy of the principal's row, and mail merge was set up to auto send, which I forgot. And what did it do? It automatically sent an email with it being addressed to not the deputy principal's name, but the principal's name, and then in brackets, copy. I don't think that was what the principal really wanted to receive. So yes, do not use mail merge, and stick to manually sending these. And one thing you can do is you can schedule send them. So schedule sending is when you schedule them to send at a certain time. Gmail adds this feature. And with that, what you can do is you can schedule it so that it arrives early morning for them, even if you're in a different country. I know a lot of us here in Asia, I'm on GMT plus 8, which is like hours away from the Americans. So if you're emailing someone in America, you can schedule send it and they'll arrive at a normal time. But don't send it to 9 a.m. because at 9 a.m. every single company likes to send you a daily bulletin or a weekly bulletin. So yeah, avoid 9 a.m. Go like 9:22 or 8:51 or 7. No, don't go 7. 7's a bit early. 10:22. I said 22 before. 10:51. All sorts of things. I said 51 as well, didn't I? Wow, I have a lack of number creativity. Anyway, so going forward, I really hope this session has supported you, but I really don't want it to end here. I want to help make all of your emails better, so I'm going to run this competition to help all of you. If you submit to this link on screen, an email that you've prepared in the next hour, I'll respond back to you within 2 weeks on feedback on your cold email. So how this is going to work, you go to that link, you need to fill in your name, your contact email so I can get in touch, and then just copy an email that you sent to a company, if you'd like, about sponsorship, and I'll respond back with some email. And don't worry, the emails are fully confidential, only I will see them. Of course, I won't be sharing anything, that would be wrong with me. And then, there's a little bit of a competition part, as I mentioned. Not only will you get some feedback, but the top 5 emails that I receive will get a personal goodie packet full of stickers like all of these, in a nice envelope and everything. And I will send that out to you as a prize for making a great email. And also, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email is on screen. I'm always willing to help you. You can also message me on the Hack Club Slack. I'm at SamPoda there. And with usernames, I'd like to quickly end asking if you could follow me on either Twitter or GitHub. It would really mean a lot to me. I normally follow back as well, so that'd be really great. And so my usernames are displayed on the screen there. So if you could follow me there, that'd be amazing. And with that, shall conclude my talk. I really hope you enjoyed it. This is my first ever time giving a conference talk. So please do drop some feedback in the chat or in my email. I spent a lot of time. I made this whole wall for it as well. So I really hope you did enjoy. And I want to help you with feedback. So please do submit to the competition as well. And yeah, thank you and enjoy the rest of the show. Bye.
Goodbye. We now go back to the hosts of Hack Club Asia Summit.